Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episodes of Discovery. Most notably, this will be the short treks, which I think is kind of an interesting thing that Star Trek did put out. So they did 4 of them for this season, and I'm just going to do them all at once, one quick review. I mean, if I could do 4 and 5 episodes of the animated series in one review, I could do 4 short treks in one review. So basically what they did was, these are like little short adventures to kind of keep the story going, or at least keep people interested in it, until the next season actually debuted. Now, some of them actually have to do with the story, some of them predate the story, some of them post-date the story, and some of them are just kind of on the side adventures. But I'm just going to kind of go through them. Some of them do tie back, which I won't necessarily give away, but it'll be kind of interesting. So the first one is Runaway, 15 minutes long, and it's mostly about Tilly, which is kind of cool. First, like, talking to her mom, and then her making this new friend, which is this crazy long name, but she just goes by Poe. And then, like, destroying the, like, it's not 10 forward, but the galley or whatever. And it's kind of an interesting, like, scene where you just see all the food going everywhere and everything. And then finally, when Tilly is able to get the communicator open and they can talk back and forth, and evidently Poe is like super smart, and like she's only 17, but she's created this dilithium incubator, and like poor Tilly is just like, you created this? Like, that can change the way our society runs completely. Like, you just discovered warp drive. How could you create this? And then it turns out that Poe is actually the queen of her species, and Tilly has to, like, transport her home before anybody notices that she's on Discovery. Overall, it's kind of a cute episode, really short, but it's just adorable to just watch Tilly, like, talk to somebody and have a friend. That's about as much as I, like, went with it. Did not realize how important it would be in season 2, which is all I'll say, but it was kind of a fun story. Episode 2, Calypso, 18 minutes. I don't get the point of this. Like, it was so long, and it's just like a man in an escape pod gets picked up by Discovery, and it turns out he's been in this escape pod for like a month. The AI, like the computer, is what rescues him, and the AI has been alone for 1,000 years. So Discovery's just out there floating somewhere for 1,000 years, finds this guy, and is basically, she's evolved herself and kind of creates a relationship with this guy. And like them dancing and everything, and finally she wishes him goodbye and he leaves. I didn't get the point of this one. Like, I don't understand it. I don't know why they did it. Like, and especially because it kind of like puts a finite ending to Discovery. Like, we know Discovery will never get blown up because it's going to be out there somewhere floating in space. So, I don't know. That one was a weird one to me, unless I missed something for it. Episode 3, The Brightest Star. It was kind of an interesting one. Like, it was kind of fun learning about Saru's people and, like, just them being oppressed by some species and the overseeing eye or whatever, and him finding this technology and reaching out, and then Lieutenant Georgiou making first contact to bring him with her, which kind of seems to break first contact. But even Georgiou says, like, you stole this from somebody else, so like, we're not bringing you back to your people. Like, you know about us, so we'll take you, nobody else. So that seemed like a weird thing, but again, this is one of the ones where we learn more in season 2. But I don't know, it was kind of fun to learn about Saru's backstory a little bit. And then finally, the 4th episode, which was really fun, I really did enjoy this one, was Mud. Like, I think Mud was a great character, probably my favorite episodes in the first season. And just first, him being kidnapped by Tellarite, I still don't like the way Tellarites look. And well, as he's reading these all off, and he's like penetrating a space whale, which is clearly a reference to the episode, and he's like, you kind of had to be there. And then mostly this episode is just flashbacks and everything of all of the shenanigans that Mud has gotten into. at one point he does say, like, because they're like, there's this many credits after for you, and he's like, well, what if I give you Latinum? I was like, oh, Gold Press Latinum, good reference, I like that one. And then finally you get to the end where this Tellarite brings Mud to the Federation, and they're like, yeah, just put him with all the others. And it turns out that there's a ton of androids. And he's like, let me guess, a really tall woman bounty hunter sold him to you. And he's like, yeah. And then you go back to that woman, and she takes the helmet off, and it's Mud, and he's surrounded by androids. And what works for this is Mud, like, does do some android work. Like, that goes back to the original series where he creates, like, this planet of women, including his wife Stella. So that one was kind of a nice little reference. And this episode was directed by Rainn Wilson, so that was kind of cool. But, like, overall, I think these short treks were actually pretty good. Like, I did enjoy them as kind of just a break from the deep storylines. Like, season 1 was so dark, both literally and figuratively, that these episodes were kind of a nice little break. Some better than others, but they were pretty nice. So, for those that watched the short treks, what did you guys think? What are some short treks you would like to see? Like, if they were to just focus on one character or one little story, what would you want to see? Go ahead, let me know, and I will see you guys next time for the Season 2 premiere, Brother.